Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinker, and I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. Cody's out today. He's on assignment, so it's just me and Drink. But as a reminder to all the listeners, Drink of Wisdom, it's up on YouTube. Each show segment available in addition to being on all your favorite podcast platforms. What's going on, Drink? How we doing?
You know what time it is. Let's talk some sports, baby. On this crispy Saturday morning, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let that get too far ahead of you, because we say what they don't and see what they don't. See what they want. So with that said, baby, let's get this thing rolling this Saturday morning.
All true statements. In episode 29, the Bills face the Chiefs. We have more NFL coaching hires to break down. And what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets? Well, we'll tell you about it. But we begin in the NFC with the NFC Championship game. That'll be the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Green Bay Packers kicking off at 3:05 Eastern Standard Time on Fox. The Packers, of course, beat the Rams last weekend 32-18, coming off that first round bye. The Bucks, meanwhile, took care of business against the New Orleans Saints. It's a rare matchup between two of the greatest to ever do it, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. What are we thinking about this one, Drink? How do you see it playing out?
So listen, this is very intriguing because we seen this matchup during the season. We seen the results of that matchup where it was probably, I think this was probably Aaron Rodgers' worst game of the season when they played the Bucs during the season. It wasn't good. It was a blowout. But I would say this: I think you got to throw that out the door here. I think we're going to get a different product. I think we're going to get not two totally different teams. I think the Packers will be able to move the ball better in this game than they was during the season. It was just one of them things. It was weird. Like when we was watching this happen during the season, we couldn't believe it. It was like, the Bucs good, but they're not this good, right? Like, man, Aaron Rodgers out here looking like a third of Nathan Peterman. Like he wasn't hitting on nothing in that game. So it did make you think like, oh, we might see Jordan Love, if he keep playing like this. We know that was admiration. Very next game, Aaron Rodgers said, hold my beer, and the rest was the rest. So with that said, this particular game, we know that Vita Veda, the defensive tackle for the Bucs, will be coming back. That's big news, but then it's like, how big of news? You always want one of your better players back, but he's a run stopper. You was already good at stopping the run. So I guess you got better at stopping the run. And maybe that's the thing that they will focus on. Let's take Aaron Jones out of the game. Let's take Jamal Williams out of the game. Let's take the young rookie out of the game and A.J. Dillon, take him out of the game, and let's see what Aaron Rodgers. But then it's Aaron Rodgers. So you know what you're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. You know what you're going to get with Devontae Adams. Hell, you know what you're going to get with Robert Tonyan, to be honest with you, if you really want to go down the roster. So do you want to play that game? I would say this: the Bucs secondary has played better, but they haven't played to the level that I can say make Rodgers throw the ball. And some people say, it's not many teams in the NFL where you can say that about anybody's secondary. Like, it's Aaron Rodgers we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Jordan Rodgers. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, So I understand that, but I think that's what you got to do. You can't let them run the ball. Why? Because you're playing in Green Bay. And for some reason, when Green Bay get home games in the playoffs, some type of snow or some type of weather or something affects that game. Now, I know Tom Brady is used to weather conditions, but are we sure Mike Evans are? Are we sure Chris Godwin ready for it? Are we sure that Leonard Fournette is ready for it? Ronald Jones is ready for it. That offensive line. Are we sure the Bucs want that smoke in the snow in the month of January? We're going to find out. I do think that's going to play a factor. I really do. Because Tom Brady is the only guy we've seen on this level that can handle himself in that snow. We haven't seen that out of the rest of the Bucs characters. Antonio Brown not playing in this game. So you can go ahead and take that factor out too. Like, Antonio Brown he's not playing this game. So that doesn't matter. And then when you switch over to Green Bay, listen, they built for this. This is what they do. I'm still not the biggest fan of the line of trenches for Green Bay. I know you feel a little different about it. We will see. I can tell you this: if they go into this game and they control the trenches in this game, then I would get off the whole Green Bay and South bandwagon. I leave it alone. They control the trenches in this game. I got to put some respect on it. But I want to wrap all that up by saying I think the Bucs is going to win this game. I'm looking at it 20, 24-21. I think the defense, because it can't be a high scoring affair. Because if it's a high scoring affair, the Bucs is out of here. If they keep it low, which I think they can, I think that's the type of game you win. So 24-21, the Bucs. I don't think Tom Brady have a particularly awesome game, but I think he get enough from the running game, and he throw for about, they say about 250, 2 touchdowns, about the best you can get. Leonard Fournette, between Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, they get you over 100. And if they get you over 150 together, I think the Bucs got a good chance. So with that said, yeah, I'm going with the Bucs to win this one. I see the GOAT being back into the Super Bowl 24-21, Bucs over the Packs.
Yeah, this is first of all, just want to just kind of reiterate what I said at the top. This is a treat. It's something that we've seen, I believe, just 3 times where these guys have went head to head. I believe they had one in 2014. I think Green Bay won that one 26-21. Maybe 3 years ago, New England won by two touchdowns. Then you had this blowout that we had earlier this year. So um, you just don't know how many more matchups like this you're going to get. So best to enjoy it and savor it because they don't come around very often. So we were, in all honesty, we were going to be lucky either way. It was either going to be Brady and Rogers or Breeze and Rogers. Can't
Right.
really go wrong either way.
Mm.
Uh, but that first game was really an interesting one. Not only was that Aaron Rodgers' worst game of the season, that was the Bucks' best game of the season. So but that was quite a while back. I do agree with you. I do think it's best to toss that one out and not let that one cloud your thought process all that much. But it's just striking. It's hard not to look at it all. Green Bay was up 10-0 in that game. Before this, the wheels came off, and Tampa Bay ends up winning 38-10. So, Green Bay, I would imagine they're looking at that first quarter and saying, what went right? Because we can't look at the second through the fourth quarters because nothing went right. So, what did we do in that quarter that allowed us to get off to a good start, and how can we sustain that? And the part about the physicality, I think Green Bay's grown, since that game. They've grown since last season. I don't think they're the same team that you can necessarily punch them in the mouth and they're just not gonna resist at all. I think on both sides of the line, they've gotten a little bit better. I'd still be a little bit more concerned about the defensive line, but Kenny Clark, to me, he's playing next level. And you know how I feel about Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. They're gonna bring the heat. That's what they do. Rashawn Gary, the young guy out of Michigan, he's been
Michigan.
having a
Yeah.
little bit of impact. Christian Kirksey, I like what he's been doing lately. In the at the inside linebacker spot for them. And about the secondary. The secondary is going to do. It's going to be out there. I think it's going to do a fine job. Mike Evans caught one pass in this first matchup, so that has to speak to Jair Alexander. You mentioned no Antonio Brown. That's a key thing to watch out. So it's probably going to be Chris Godwin is the guy you want to focus in on for Tampa Bay.
I forgot to mention him. This guy kind of go under the radar for the Bucks offense, but don't be surprised you see more of what's his name, Scotty Miller. If you
Yeah.
see him, get more catches because Antonio
Scotty
Brown now.
Scotty Miller, and I'd throw Cameron Brate in there as well.
Yeah,
I know Gronk. I think Gronk had perhaps his best game of the year, 5 for 78 and a touchdown. He hasn't been much of a factor in the passing game. I still think he got in the run game. He can still have a pretty profound impact, but
right.
he's not the same receiver he once was. So it's going to be. I don't think it's necessarily going to be Mike Evans. I think the Packers will have him under wraps for the most part. It's gonna be the other guys, and it is gonna be. I think whichever team can control the line of scrimmage and establish some sort of a running game, that's going to be very very key. And I think that's going to be more important to Tampa Bay because like I always say, you don't want Tom Brady just sitting back there, dropping back over and over. That's going to give the edge to the likes of Zadarius and Preston Smith. But Ronald Jones, in game one, did have a whaler game. He ran for 113 yards. And this was, Leonard Fournette, was not a part of this game. So now they have both of those guys back there. They've been pretty good. I thought they were a big difference in the win against the Saints. But I think Green Bay on the other side, they have their own three-headed monster as well with Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, and AJ Dillon. We'll have to see what his status for. I think he got banged up last week. But it's going to be tougher for them. You mentioned Vita Vea is back. They were already the Bucks rather already the best run defense in the league. They're only going to be stronger. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be at his best, and he can't have one of these 12.4 QBR games. It won't. It'll be a pretty quick game if that happens. But I like Green Bay in this game. I think the home field advantage. Aaron Rodgers, he's never had a championship game at home. I think that's going to play to his advantage. And I think I don't know. Yeah, of course, we know Tom Brady. Kind of any climbing place. I don't know where that's from. It sounds familiar, but
Yeah.
he's an any climbing place type of fella, if you know what I mean. But all the rest of them, you mentioned. I think that's a fair point. Ronald Jones, he's a Southern Cal type of guy. Fournette, he spent his whole career, in Florida, and played at LSU. So these are some fair weather guys. So we'll see if the weather is a factor. If it's going to be a factor, I would say that probably benefits Green Bay. Um, but in the end, I think it's a fairly high scoring game. I think Green Bay's, they've been cruising since then, and outside of that game, not many people have stopped them. So I think as long as the protection can do the job, and I think the biggest thing Green Bay has to watch out for is the blitzes Todd Bowles is going to employ. As long as Devin White and Levante David don't wreck this game on some of their blitzes, I like Green Bay in this game. I think it's a close one, and I think they win it 34-31.
All right, now before, so would you like to make a wager on this game?
I am nowhere near that confident in this. So no, I will not be wagering much of anything on this game. But thank you for asking. Much appreciated.